Hello and welcome back to another episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. My name is Tim and today we're going to be making maple smoked pork spare ribs. So let's get to it and I'll show you what the secret ingredient is. Well, you actually probably already know it's maple, but let me show you how we're going to add the maple to these ribs. So I'm excited to make this for you, so let's get to it. Okay, so down here, what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and pre-season these ribs. Well, put a pre-rub on, and what I like to put on is Everglades. Now I've showed this to you before. This is not the container that it generally comes in, but I will put a link to Everglades website. It's a company out of Florida. They have great products, and what I like to do is put a little Everglades on these ribs. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and dry these off a little bit. I've already taken the silver skin off of the back. So you don't have to take the silver skin off, but if you want to leave it on there, that's fine. Makes it a little bit chewy though when you get done, and the rub doesn't really penetrate through the backside. So it's always a good idea to take that silver skin off the back, and also has better presentation when you serve the ribs. So, but really it's for flavor. Let's get down to it. So we're going to just put a light dusting of the Everglades on the back side here, both of these slabs of ribs. And again, these are pork spare ribs. You can do this with any kind of pork rib. Baby backs are obviously good to use as well. And so we're going to do at the back side there. And then what we have here, I'm going to go ahead and season this back side as well while we're at it. But what I've put in this container here is going to be equal parts of Cosmos Q Dirty Bird Hot, which is about 5 tablespoons I put in here, as well as 5 tablespoons of Cimarron Docks rub, which I don't have their actual container. I buy it in bulk and I have it in a separate stainless steel container, but it's Cimarron Docks. I'll put a link to both of those in the description. But what I've also done is with the total, so it's 5 tablespoons of Cosmos Dirty Bird Hot and Cimarron Docks 5 tablespoons, as well as 2 tablespoons of this maple syrup powder. So basically it's a combination of a bunch of ingredients that equals maple syrup powder. So I put 2 tablespoons of that to the 10 tablespoons of rub that I have in this shaker. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and shake some of that on this side here. There's a lot of different brands of that maple syrup powder. I believe I got that one on Amazon, but I'll put a link to the powder in the description as well. And then we're going to smoke this today on the Kamado Joe, Big Joe. So I've got that heating up now. Let's get the front side here of the Everglades rub. This Everglades is amazing stuff. It gives it really a unique flavor. You know, as I said in some of my previous videos, I like to use this a lot of times in place of salt as well in recipes. And then the rub here. Okay, so about done putting this rub on. I think you get the idea here. I'm going to go ahead and get set up for putting these ribs on the smoker, and once I'm done with that, come back, show you how we're going to set those up on the smoker, on the Kamado Joe, Big Joe, and I'll be back in just a minute. Thank you. Okay, I'm back with you. I have already stuck the ribs on the Kamado Big Joe. I've also added some cherry wood down there, a couple chunks of that. Put my diffuser plates in there. And then I'm also running a Flame Boss 300, which is a temperature control system, which will keep the Kamado Joe at the temperature that you set it at. So today we've got it set at 240 degrees. It's set it and forget it, basically. It also comes with some thermometers that you can put in your meat with alarms that let you know when your meat is done, all that type of thing. So it's a great system. It works with the Kamado Big Joe as well as a lot of other smokers. So that's what we're using today. The Kamado Joe is actually very easy to use without the Flame Boss, but the Flame Boss is just one extra level that makes it just that much easier. You don't have to worry about it at all. You just set your top vent, depending on how hot we're at the smoking, you barely have it open. It's open just about a crack, and then the bottom vent is where you put your fan, slide it over, set your temperature, away you go. So we've got that set up. We're going to go ahead and smoke these with that cherry wood and lump charcoal for probably 2 to 3 hours. We're not doing it so much on time, we're doing it more on color. Once we have the color we want, once it's at the doneness we want with that color, then we're going to go ahead and wrap them so we can tenderize them. I'll show you what we're going to put inside of that wrap, which is going to really set off these maple smoked pork spare ribs. So I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, so we're back. I've already pulled the ribs off the Kamado. They were on for about 3 hours and 15 minutes or so. We've got the color we want, as you can see down here. Here's one of the slabs, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap them with all of our great stuff sitting over here. So what we have over here is we're going to have some brown sugar. We're going to have some more of the original rub that we put on there with the maple powder mixed in. We've got some tiger sauce. We've got some Parquet, the magic blue bottle, and then we're also going to stick in some turbinado sugar as well, which I've got sitting over here. And the secret ingredient going along with what we have in the rub with that maple syrup powder, we're also going to use some regular maple syrup instead of honey, which is generally what I would put in here would be honey, but again we're going to replace the honey with the maple syrup, and we're going to go ahead and get started doing that now. So we'll do the first slab. So again, this is the Parquet, and what we're doing here, this is basically just tenderizing the rib. We got a little bit of pullback on the bones, you can see on there, and now we're going to wrap this up, stick it back on the smoker for a few hours, put in our brown sugar, and we're going to want to do both sides of both slabs of ribs here. There we go. A little bit of the turbinado sugar, which is basically brown sugar in the raw. That's kind of what the turbinado is. Gonna put some of our rub on there as well. A little bit of tiger sauce, just like so. And the maple syrup. I think these are going to be excellent. Flip that over, do the same thing to the back side. And again, we're going to want to cook this. Now that we have it in the foil, we're going to stick it on the smoker meat side down. More of that brown sugar, like so. Great. Tiger sauce, turbinado sugar, more of that rub, and the maple syrup. Perfect. All right, now we're going to wrap that up. Now we're going to double wrap this. It's always a good idea to double wrap your ribs, just to be sure you don't puncture the foil and leak. You don't want to leak. in there. And then what I like to do, just to make sure, I tap it like a nice little package. I like to turn the rib, make sure we get that center portion covered, just like so. Fold those ends up. Perfect. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to wrap the other slab of ribs. I'm going to throw them back on the Kamado. I'm going to cook those probably for another hour to an hour and a half. There's a couple different methods you use. There's one that's really popular. There's a 3-2-1 method. However, and that's 3 hours in the without any foil, just sitting on the smoker, and then you wrap it for 2 hours, and then you put it back on for 1 hour. But when I try that method, my ribs tend to get overdone. So generally, I will put them on there for about 3 hours, and then maybe about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes in the wrap, and then I'll take them back out. Maybe another half an hour to 45 minutes, and in that time frame I'll also sauce, and that tends to work out pretty good. If you like overdone or more meat falling off the bone, then obviously you can keep it in the foil a little longer, but personally I don't like the meat falling off the bone, so that's the time frame that usually works best for me. So I will be back with you in a minute, or in just a few seconds for you, but for me it'll be about an hour and 15 minutes. Once I take these off the smoker, show you what they look like when I take them out of the foil, and then we'll put them back on and sauce them, and then we'll go ahead and do a taste test. So we'll see you in just a minute. Thank you. Okay, we're back, and I went ahead and pulled these off the smoker. I'll show you what it kind of looks like coming out of the foil. I actually probed it for doneness, and it's nice and tender, which is what you want. So now we're going to take it out of the wrap, and we're going to go ahead and stick it back on the Kamado, and let it go for probably about another 20 minutes, then we'll sauce it up, let it go for another 10 minutes after that, and then we'll be done, and we'll be ready to cut into these and give them a try. So I did also have these in there a little longer than the hour and 15 minutes. I did about an hour and a half with them wrapped. So we're going to go ahead and take these out. I'm going to put them back on the Kamado. Give it about 20 minutes, and then about another 20 minutes with sauce on it, and then we'll be good to go and ready to give them a taste. So I'll be right back with you when we're done with that step. Okay, we're back. We took the ribs off the Kamado Big Joe, and here's what we have right here. Looks like they turned out pretty good. I can't wait to cut into them and give them a try. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let them cool down for just a few minutes, and again we put them in there for about another 30 minutes, and you can see there those are some juicy ribs. Look at all that juice in there. Look at that. See, they're dripping everywhere. We're going to give that a try. See how that comes off. I got 2 bones here. We're going to do it that way. Again, we're in the backyard. I'm a backyard barbecue guy, so 2 bones is what we're doing. Let's give it a try. Wow. Those are awesome. Look at that. Perfect bite. Came right off the bone. Those are amazing. A little hint of that maple syrup that we put in there and that maple powder. Boy, those are awesome. So, baby backs are great, but I've got to tell you, nothing like a spare rib. All that fat content that's in a spare rib just makes them juicy and succulent, and it's just, they're amazing, absolutely amazing. I think I actually like these better than the baby backs. if you have never tried doing a spare rib, or if you've never tried doing ribs at all with maple syrup powder, maple syrup in the wrap, and as a matter of fact, I even added some maple syrup in with the barbecue sauce, which I'm using Blues Hog barbecue sauce, but I also mixed in about 30% of maple syrup into that barbecue sauce. So 70% of the Blues Hog with 30% of the maple syrup, and it's awesome. It's great. So give it a try. I hope you do. Awesome ribs. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified on all of our new recipes. And I look forward to seeing you again with our next episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. Again, my name is Tim, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.